Hello everyone, this is DavidViadel23 and welcome to the Mandrago's Cave. Today we are gonna be drawing and talking about Carrot from One Piece. Let's do a change in pencil. I fancy drawing with mechanical pencil today, okay? So we have this space more or less to draw. I've been drawing a full Strawhat list, playlist, talking about theories of all of them, analyzing all of them that I'm gonna put here. The last one that we did, I think it was a second instance of Brook after drawing Jinbe, and I said in that last video, we finished with the Strawhats. But I forgot to draw Carrot. I wanna explain how, in my mind, Carrot is one of the Strawhats, like Bibi, like Momo, like characters that have been with us for a couple of sagas, but they belong into the crew. They are not only allies, but part of the crew, okay? So for that, I think I fancy drawing a Sulong, probably a Sulong Carrot. The drawing should be very tiny today. We are gonna attempt to do some sort of scribbles here, okay? There is no manga episode this week. There is a Shonen Jump magazine break. 1191 will come out, I think, the following week. So I like these weeks in between because it gives me opportunity to talk about other topics. Normally, I would do a little bit of analysis, we'll do a little bit of theory, reading the episode, reading the room to see what's happening, trying to figure out what's happening in the manga, where are we going, depending on what character we're analyzing, who is gonna be doing what. But I like these weeks as well because it gives me time to think, to collect my thoughts, and to talk about other characters that I wanna talk, but we don't do it in normal circumstances, okay? And that is the case of Carrot. Carrot, in my opinion, and I'm sure you will not disagree with this, is the lookout of the Strawhats, okay? She is the person, she is the pirate that eats in the crow's nest on the top, on the very, 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 very top of the sunny, keeping an eye on enemies approaching, looking for land, and all these things. Since the very beginning, we have this concept in One Piece of roles, okay? Each one of the Strawhats has some sort of a role in the story as, let's say, working in the ship, no? Like we know that Nami is the navigator, Frankie is the shipwright, the carpenter, basically. But some of these roles, like in real-life piracy, change a little bit, okay? Since day one, we had characters like Usopp, for example, going into the extent of fulfilling other roles at the beginning, East Blue, beginning of the Grand Line, before Water 7. Usopp was in charge of fixing the Merry. Not because someone asked him to, because he wanted to do it, okay? He was working before in the ship as well, and he was good at this. He was very handyman at doing all of this kind of, let's say, handwork, and we always assumed that he was gonna be the carpenter of the ship, basically, okay? All of these things obviously changed when we move into Water 7 Saga. We meet Frankie, Frankie ends up joining us, and then Frankie takes the role, okay? Up to that point, we had Nami as well, that is the navigator, being the one, let's say, sailing, driving, if we're talking about a car, the Sunny. Some of the characters will take over at some point, like Chopper will take control, Sanji will take control as well, but until the arrival of Jinbe, the other guys were filling the spot, okay? We have the same example with this, with Carrot, okay? Up until Carrot's appearance, let's say, in the Merry and in the Sunny, we had the Crow's Nest as well, on the very top of the ship, and who was up there? Zorro. Zorro always had his, let's say, spot, or his training grounds, like in the Merry. If you check the blueprints of the Merry, there are blueprints online, so you can see where is each one of the Strawhats' room, you see the aquarium inside, you see the toilet, for example, see things that you don't see normally in the manga, in a normal episode, in the anime, but I like to see these things because I create stories as well. I always like to see the behind the scenes, let's say, okay? So there are images of the Merry inside and there are images of the Sunny inside, okay? And there is in fact as well a mini saga about the eyes with the twins and everything, where it's explaining to you as well some of the other weapons, vehicles that the Merry has inside, okay? So up until Carrot's arrival, we had Zorro being the lookout, always up there, most of the time sleeping or practicing or drinking, but keeping an eye on the enemies approaching, okay? I find this very interesting because, you know, Zorro is very famous, his character is very ingrained into the concept of falling asleep all the time, okay? Because he's very tired, because he's training a lot, etc., etc. So when we had the arrival of Carrot, I thought she was gonna stay with us for the length of the story, for the rest of the story, okay? And we need to understand, obviously I'm talking a little bit about the spoilers up until recent episodes, let's say the saga with Vegapunk, the saga, you know, with Egghead, with Wano and everything, even a little bit of Elbaf here. So we have this this concept of Gold Roger traveling like Luffy, and because one circumstance or another, he ends up having people enrolled in his crew that are part of the crew, but there are not characters that join in normal circumstances. And this will be, for example, Oden. Oden was originally in Whitebeard's crew. And because the chase, the interesting concept of the poneglyphs, the wanting to recover the reality of the world, the truth of the world, to unravel this mystery, Roger basically begs to Whitebeard, please let me borrow Oden for 1 year so we can actually unravel the story. It ends up happening, okay, this happens at the end. We have other characters as well that, because this same connection, because these same circumstances, end up being with him, okay? And this will be the case of Nekomamushi and Inuarashi, that are the two dukes of the Mokomo Kingdom, that this is where Carrot is from, and this is on top of Sunisha, the island of Zou, okay? So, interesting. These characters, these three characters, were for some time pirates with Whitebeard, and then they were pirates with Roger. They made connection with all of them, and they are considered part of the crew, okay? One more of the crew. I like it. When you are looking into real pirate history, and I have an analysis of a recent book by Rebecca Simmons that I'm gonna put here, called The Pirate's Code, where she explains the ups and downs, the insights of, you know, pirates' crews, the roles that some of the pirates had, the rank that they had as well, the way that they were, for example, receiving the prize, the boot that they are gonna be collecting from another ship, the loot, okay? And all of this stuff. So in this case, this is exactly the same. There are pirates, there are roles that are fulfilled temporarily, but you were part of the crew. When in the 1600s, the 1700s, the golden piracy era in real life with Nassau and everything, when Wood Rogers ends up, you know, giving some pardons, collecting all the pirates, executing plenty of them as well, there is a concept very interesting to decide who was a pirate and who wasn't a pirate. So there was this thing called the Pirate Code, basically the rules that each ship, most of them, had, and people that was in the ship, just arriving to the ship, or because they wanted, or because they were captured and forced to be there, they would have to sign this document, okay? Like, yes, I'm agreeing to these rules, okay? So basically what happens with this, in a nutshell, is that when they were gonna go to trial, by court, this will be analyzed, and if your name was there, you were a pirate. And then they will say, have you actually taken part in piracy acts, like, for example, attacking other ships, looting other ships, killing people, you know, assaulting lake towns, for example, going into raids and things like this? If the resolution for this was yes, the person has been doing all this stuff, then they will execute the pirate. He will be guilty and they will send him to hang, basically. So that was the way where they will decide if the pirate is a pirate or no, okay? Pirate of that specific crew. This is the same. If we are gonna apply real pirate rules, that this is what Oda would want, and this is what Oda will probably do in general, talking about all of this. Has Carrot taken part on fighting since So? First fighting against the enemies in So, then traveling to the Big Mom area, to the Whole Cake Islands, and fight Big Mom, okay? And then fight as well the next saga with the whole story with Wano and everything. Yes. So that makes her part of Luffy's crew, part of the Straw Hats, and having a specific role in the crew as lookout, because she's always going on top. In fact, I'm drawing that moment where one of these moments where she is up on the crow's nest and she transforms into Sulong, that we will talk about Sulong in a second. She is one of the crew, okay? There is no doubt in my mind that Carrot is one more member of the Straw Hat Pirates. Maybe you have another opinion. I respect it. You are free to explain it in the Show More section. If you open Show More at the very bottom, you have the comments and you can explain why you think yes, she is part of the crew, or no, she's not part of the crew. You can as well consider her as just an ally, because she's not a permanent member of the crew. She, at the moment, she is back in her kingdom, and she is the ruler. She became the boss there, you know. Inuarashi and Nekomamushi decided to retire, and they went to Wano and they said, you know, we've been thinking about you taking over. What do you think about that? And she ends up being the boss there, okay, now. So, obviously, because we want Luffy and the guys to have allies everywhere. So this is perfect for us, okay? As we are leading the story, we are heading with the story towards the end of the story, basically. I like it very much. I like all the concepts regarding Carrot. I think she is very sweet. She is very nice. She is very, very Straw Hat. If you remember, most of the characters in One Piece, when they are gonna join Luffy, or they are, like Brook, assumed that they are gonna be joining, or something like this happens very quick, like, oh yeah, you are with me already, or shut up, you are with me, like with Usopp, is like Luffy shouting, oh, shut up, and go into the boat. With Brook, is like, oh, yes, you wanna be my Nakama? Yes. With most of them, it happens really quick. If you remember the way that Carrot shows up in the ship, we are in this moment where we need to go and rescue Sanji. A couple of things happened in Zou, and everything is upside down, okay? The team is separated, etc., and there is a meeting, there is a conversation with Luffy, Nami, etc., and the two groups that they were separated, because if you remember, some of them were in Dressrosa, and then they arrive, and then we are with all of them for a brief period of time in Zou. There is conversation there about rescuing Sanji, okay? So what happens there is that there is an alliance made here. All of these guys go to the chase, start, you know, going into the ships, trying to chase the whole thing. And when the comedy part of the story happens, where, oh, you know, we're in the boat, we're heading there, blah, 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 hee hee ha ha. And then they realize that Carrot is on the ship as well. Carrot is a very childish character, very joking all the time and everything, and she's basically a stowaway in the ship. In normal pirate life, if you were a stowaway, most likely they will kill you. Most likely they will throw you from the board, they will maybe stop you in the first port that they find, and they will abandon you. Because there is a story, because this is One Piece, and because we love Carrot, basically. Obviously this doesn't happen in One Piece. This is just a parallelism. Later we will learn with the flashback with Nekomamushi and Inuarashi that they did the same to join Oden in his adventures. They just went stowaway when they were kids, and this is a way for Oda to show us that these two type of characters, Carrot and Nekomamushi and Inuarashi, they are kind of reckless in a similar way, honest, good-hearted, and silly, and it's a parallelism because then later she's gonna become what these two guys are, basically the boss there, the queen in this case, the ruler of this territory. I like it. So, talking about Carrot. Carrot, as you can see here that I'm drawing at the moment, has a particularity of hers that we love in One Piece, and this is something called Sulong, okay? All of the Strawhats are super strong, and whoever joins the crew can't be less. Carrot with the Sulong form is not exclusive for her. Sulong is something that many of the Mink tribe have. It's something that you have to develop. You need to become very strong and awaken it. Something like when you are awakening Haki, basically, okay? You can be like a normal guy who has a strong will, and by training, at some point, you awaken Haki and you strengthen yourself, like we have seen, for example, with Kobe. Kobe started training with Garp and Helmeppo, and at some point they became stronger, and then it reaches the point that they awaken their own Haki, and we see these crazy images of Kobe destroying an entire islands, basically, like Garp used to do when he was younger and everything, and we love that, okay? So, because Carrot is one of our guys, okay, we end up seeing this Sulong evolution unexpected with her, and I absolutely love it, okay? When she transforms from very, very sweet character to this killer machine, it is absolutely crazy. I absolutely love it. I want to know as well your opinion about Carrot before transforming and after transforming. How did you feel about this, seeing this in the manga for the first time, seeing this in the anime for the first time, with the concept of the whiteness, the concept of the moon? What is your opinion about Carrot? As you know, because the Sulong form is extremely powerful, okay, we have this kind of moment of show-off when we are fighting against the Big Mom's pirates, and Carrot transforms in this scene. She flies basically directly at the enemy ship and starts destroying them all, throwing them around, breaking the ships as well. She looks super strong and super scary, okay? Even the Strawhats at that moment that they are there, Nami and the rest, they are scared of her, looking like, oh my god, what is going on here? Very nice. We need to have clear that since the very beginning, Carrot is an extremely strong fighter, okay? We see her when we meet her at the beginning, and she is able to overcome Luffy, Zorro, and Sanji at the same time and stop them all, okay? So this is an introduction of an epic character, a character that we are gonna be making part of our crew, okay? Obviously, we cannot have everyone in our ship. We don't want to have a ship full of people. I truly believe we are done with all the characters, all of the official Straw Hats that are joining us. I think we stop with Jinbei, and after that we are not gonna have more characters, let's say, joining as such, like in the main crew. We will have some people like Carrot, yeah, that they can be with us for a little bit and then do their own thing. Yamato, I think, is another one of these characters. A lot of people thought, no, Yamato is just a random, but here I'm gonna put my theory about this, why I believe that Yamato truly is one of the Straw Hats as well, simply because the similar concept to this, and Yamato is actually on a mission. Luffy asked her to protect the Wano area and teach Momo with all the fighting things that he needs to know, so we can strengthen Wano, okay? Because when they were talking us for the farewell, for the goodbye, it is said there, like, if I leave now, Luffy, you are not gonna be in peace. You are gonna be thinking about Wano and how you can protect Wano. But if I stay, so it's a mission. He is on a mission there in Wano to hold the fort until, the walls are gonna be open, whatever is gonna happen with Wano is gonna happen, and all of these, etc., etc., okay? I love it. I don't like to limit myself to think the story needs to be closed and no one else can join or no one else can be helping us, etc., because as well we have the concept of the Grand Fleet, where we have a series of pirates that, yes, those are the allies, like Cavendish, Bartolomeo, etc., and those guys are not traveling with us. But if there is a fight at the end of the story, like we have the story with Ace and Whitebeard and Marineford, these guys would go to the fight and help us to defeat the enemy. There are other characters that are not directly friends of us, but they are enemies. They were enemies, like Boggy, Mihawk, Crocodile, in this case the Cross Guild as well, that because Luffy ends up befriending all of the enemies at the end of the story, basically, they end up helping as well, in one way or in another. Maybe it's not specifically in the sense of, yes, I'm here to help Luffy, but just in the sense of I'm here to help myself, but by doing this, I'm helping Luffy, okay? I love that concept as well. It is something that you don't see much in mangas, in stories. You don't see much that anywhere, and I think it's very interesting, very beautiful, and One Piece is made in a way where there is forgiveness, okay? And Luffy, as a main character, is able to help everyone, even the bad guys, to have a change of heart. It is very interesting, okay? So, let's do the eye a little bit, okay? The eye is gonna be obviously red like this. We will do the details in a bit with the pencil. Need to extend this one a little bit more, okay? This is the moment where she just transformed. Everyone is looking at her like, oh my god, what is this creature? We don't know anything about Sulong here. We don't know anything basically about these Minks transforming into these type of creatures. It's very, very epic, to be honest. Let's do, and we have here the tail, the bunny tail, that it becomes some sort of massive tail. And we have as well here all of these as well, obviously, looking like this. Very, very nice. Let's see, it has a little bit of like, it's breathing, like it's cold, no? Like this. Okay, we are gonna jump now into details to do the fine line for our carrot in Sulong form. Talking a little bit about Sulong, okay? The Sulong form is this white-looking creature with a lot of hair. Most of them we have seen Wanda transforming, Nekomamushi, Inuarashi, the Musketeers, you know, with Sicilian as well. We've seen Pedro as well transforming. All of these guys basically have achieved the excellence of the Mink warriors, basically. They have reached the limit of fighting, the elite fighters of the kingdom, basically. They are able to transform, they are able to fight at this Sulong level, and it is something as well that obviously now, after recent events, with all the story with Vegapunk, with the story of Gear 5 and everything, it makes us think about, these guys actually look pretty similar to a Gear 5 form, and we don't know why, okay? We have this whole concept of, now that we are going to do the eyes, you will understand what I say. We have the head like this, okay? So you can see what I mean. We have the head like this, the nose, and then the mouth here. Gonna make her smiling like she's been cheeky there, okay? So we have the eyes that, if you see, they are black like this, and the inside of the eye is black as well, and we have the redness here, like a little bit crazy eyes, okay? This is not new. This is something that we, as a One Piece fan, we have already seen. If you remember, when we are in the Gyojin saga, we have this character called Hody Jones, the bad guy in that whole saga. And he basically takes some magical, secret, legendary pills that is augmenting, okay, empowering his strength, is making him super strong, and basically is making him look a little bit like this. You know, the look is white, the eyes are crazy red like this with rimmed eyes and everything. It is scary. It is very, very scary. Now, when we see Carrot and we see Sicilia, Nekomamushi, Inuarashi, Wanda, all of these guys transforming into Sulong, it makes us think, how can this be? Why that formula? What is happening? What is going on here? Is that a derivate? Is that something that it was manufactured by man? Something like someone like Vegapunk or the previous Vegapunk created this medicine in Joyboy's time to be able to empower some of the characters, okay? At the same time, what I think is, can this be something that Joyboy gave to the Minks? There was an alliance, and we know this for sure. You know, now we have seen the mural in in Elbaf. We have seen as well a story about all the characters that are gonna be basically joining the Strawhats in the final fight. We have a union in this mural of giants, Gyojin, Minks, you know, people from the sky, like Shandians, all of them are there, even small people, like from the Dressrosa saga, from the Green Beat part, they are there as well. So the thing is, what if Joyboy at that point obviously gives some sort of power up to these different tribes, to these different people, to help him to have more strength to defeat the enemy? I guess at that point Imu, or whoever was Imu's boss at the time, okay? Because now Imu is the bad guy, doesn't mean that 800 years ago, 900 years ago, Imu was as well the boss there. It could have been that Imu was just the second in command or the assistant of the bad guy, and now, a little bit like Lord of the Rings, when we have Sauron, okay? We have Sauron, we have the Witch King as well, and then we have Melkor as well, that Sauron was just a lieutenant of this other guy, and so, okay? So, if now we have seen Imu being able to power up his people, his guys, his bad guys, and give them extra strength, okay? And you know, the swords and everything that we have seen in some of the latest episodes. If you haven't seen my analysis of the swords and how do I think we can defeat Imu, explaining things as well about giving powers to other people and a little bit like video game concept, I'm gonna put that video here. It's basically one of the most watched video in the whole channel, surprisingly, because it's me drawing weapons that normally I don't do. Normally I draw a character like we are drawing today. So it was a surprise, unexpected for me, and nice. Thank you for following and for being interested in that topic. And yeah, I invite you to check as well the rest of the videos in the channel, because there are plenty of theories that you may find interesting, and we can discuss and we can expand, okay? Maybe you realize of something that I didn't think about, and then we can actually expand these theories as well, okay? Let's do the legs, okay? Really slender legs like this, and from here we go here, and then like this. This one is done, okay? And the shoes in black. Shoes black, skirt is gonna be black as well, okay? Like this. And now I want to see how is this one. It's like this. And this. It's a bit funny. I'm not a fan of drawing feet, but it's a little bit funny, like this. Okay, the hands as well. Let's do the details. All the claws here with the nails. Scary nails as well. She became very scary in this transformation, to be honest. I love it. I have to say as well, I would have preferred to see different style of Sulong. All of the Sulong look the same, and the hair goes crazy and the tails go crazy, but I would have seen maybe them looking a little bit different, no? They mix a little bit for me, they are blurred a little bit for me. So I think what happened, you know, at the time, in that original alliance of good guys, to defend themselves, to protect the world and everything, that they end up losing, basically, is that Joyboy gave them some power, and could be that the Mink they had this power up, not for all of them. It was something that maybe was sleeping inside all of them, and they were able to awaken it as something similar to a Gear 5. And this is basically what we are able to see here in the story. We is able that something that you are able to awaken, like the Haki, as I said at the beginning. Okay, that's why not all of them are able to transform. Okay, we have only the elite warriors being able to transform. When we are seeing all the Minks coming to our aid and everything, and we have all of them fighting, transforming into Sulong, that is crazy. Basically, all of them transformed and fighting. They are super strong, so that is a power to reckon. It's something that whoever is against that type of power is in trouble. Okay, let's do a little bit of erasing here. Okay, maybe because the leg is breaking here. Okay, maybe I need to add an extra layer here. You see, like this. So now the leg is coming here better for the connection. Okay, so let's continue with the fingers. I'm gonna do like this, the nail and the tiny one, the nail as well, and now we will do the hair. Okay, most of this drawing of Carrot is white. Okay, that's why I am taking a little bit more of time with the drawing. Okay, so to do something that it looks nice, we want to do kind of electricity, because the Minks use electricity to fight. Okay, these guys are able to, with the pose and everything, instead of Haki, when they are fighting, they have this kind of electric power around them, and this is basically a joke, because you know that there is static electricity when you rub some jumpers, when you're touching your animal, your dog for example, that it will create a little bit of electricity with that. So Oda is kind of playing this card of real life situations with some characters, like in this case are the Minks, to add them a little bit of a power up without having to give them any kind of magic. Okay, without having to explain further, like, okay, it makes sense because they have fur, and it can be that yes, they have a little bit of electricity, static electricity within them. Okay, very nice. I like it. The creativity that this man has is extraordinary. I absolutely love it. Let's do. It's a referent from me. When you see my stories as well and everything, on my drawings, you see my drawings that are not One Piece drawings, you straight away say, oh, this guy loves One Piece, because, and I had this comment many times, because you see how we as artists drink and take references from other artists. Okay, unconsciously when I'm drawing my drawings, you will see how maybe some details or some coloring around or something like that ends up looking pretty similar to a One Piece design. Okay, I don't copy characters. Okay, I just try to create my own characters, but when I draw them, the style that they are drawn many times looks like it is like One Piece. And in fact, I had messages some time ago, and someone said, yeah, I recommend you watch this story called One Piece, because your characters are pretty similar. This is before I started doing my YouTube channel. And I said, actually, I'm a very, very fan of One Piece. And I remember that conversation very, very nicely, because it was something like an honor for me that someone is kind of able to recognize some of the things I do because they have seen something else. That's very nice. So this full video is about explaining things about Carrot, defining how Carrot is and how strong and good she has been for the Strawhats, for our alliance that we have with the Minks and everything, and to explain how I believe Carrot is one of the Strawhats. She is the lookout. When Zorro was taking care of that, Zorro was the lookout, but now since Carrot showed up, Carrot is the lookout. Now that Carrot is back into her kingdom, we have probably Zorro coming back. When we see more images of them, most likely we're gonna have him in the lookout as well. Maybe Robin has taken sometimes that role as well, because she wanted to read and she was just up there keeping an eye on things, so maybe she was up at night or something, and it's interesting as well. But to define who really has that role, we will have to say that is Zorro and then Carrot. Okay, let's see we need to paint just a little detail here in red. It's a little bit of pink red, like this here. She's having here like a handkerchief or something, and we will need to add a tiny bit of pink as well here, okay, for the ears, in the inside of the ears, for the bunny, and then the nose, a little bit, and obviously what we said of the eyes, okay. So I want to see what you think about this kind of theory of Joyboy, giving these guys power, giving the Gyojins power as well, and maybe the Gyojins, because you don't have many warriors as such. All of them are more focused into, in my opinion, they are more focused into defense, like a kingdom, and these guys in the Minks are more like a tribe of warriors. They remind me more to the Shandians. The Shandians, when we meet some of my favorite characters, like, you know, Viper, Kamakiri, are characters from that saga, and all of them are warriors, okay? The Minks is the same. All of them, but the kids, but even the kids, when they are attacked, you see them transforming and fighting and everything. All of these guys are warriors as well, and I think that is the difference. The difference between one group of people and another group. Like with the case of the Gyojin are organized more like a society of humans, where you have the king and you're gonna have an army and you're gonna have some soldiers, and they have pirates as well. The concept is different. I don't say it's better or is worst, but the concept is different. So here, maybe because they kept more this ancient way, and they were as well isolated from the world in some sense on top of Sunisha, that is why they are able to transform. Most likely, I want to think as well, because the Tama Tobacco, that is the pills that, you know, the bad guys in Gyojin Island are taking to transform themselves, I want to think that the Tama Tobacco maybe was engineered by this previous Vegapunk, but originally maybe extracted by Gyojins, ancient Gyojins, that they were able to transform in something like this as well. It could be very well that's why we have this kind of transformation. I want to know your opinion about this giving of power. I am against Luffy now in the story giving powers of Gear 5 and make them all white, like Gear 5, like Luffy, like Zorro, etc., you know, like Usopp. I don't want to see our guys transformed in a power that they don't own, okay? I don't want a surprise or random power up for them. There is a lot of people out there that's what they want, and you know, I respect that you want to see some things that you were expecting, you know, or waiting for your whole life, like maybe now Usopp in Gear 5 and, you know, shooting magical stars or whatever. I think Gear 5 is too overpowered. Now, until Imu's time, we haven't seen Luffy being able to slow down. If you power them all like that, that is gonna be chaos. You can't kill anyone anymore, and they are not in danger anymore, and it will take the risk of being a pirate, in my opinion. I think that is just reserved for Luffy, and a little bit explained with the concept of as well Bonnie, because Bonnie is a kid. You need to remember that Bonnie is a very, very young kid, and she can play, is the concept of playfulness, but I don't want to see what's the point of having, for example, Robin transformed in Gear 5 or Frankie in Gear 5. They are gonna just be able to fight more. No, because we haven't actually seen them. I haven't seen Frankie fight here in this saga, like, you know, punching someone, actually having an effort. If now randomly he's powered up to level, you know, Gear 5, and he's, you know, flying around and doing crazy things, I think it's gonna be too silly. And I know One Piece is very silly, but I wouldn't like that that mix of power. I'm more loyal to the character design, and if the character is specifically designed in a way, like Frankie is a tank, he needs to fight like a tank. He can't be flying around and doing things like Luffy is doing, no? And it will mix them all too similar in power, okay? I want all of them to have their own role in the story, and Robin doesn't need to be fighting this or that, because Robin is gonna be unraveling a story. You know, Frankie can be fighting, Brooke can be fighting, but, you know, you don't need all of them to be exactly doing the same. I know this opinion is controversial, and I would like you to express your opinion as well in the show more section, in the comment section down below. And what you want? Do you want to see all of them transform? You don't want to see all of them transform? Will you be disappointed if we start fighting Naoimo like this or no? You know, at the end of the day, if we want someone looking like Luffy for a moment, we have Bonnie, and if we want extra of that, we can call Carrot and the Minks, and they're gonna be looking like Luffy in Gear 5, okay? I don't think we need all of them in white color to fight against the black color that is the enemy, that is these dark flames and everything. I don't like that. It is something that can be a way of powering up the enemy, yes, but I don't want to see it in our main guys, okay? That is my opinion. So, we have been talking today about Carrot being the lookout, Carrot being a Straw Hat, yes or yes, now Carrot being in charge of the Mokomo Kingdom, and like Yamato, is a Straw Hat, but is doing a mission, is having something else to do in the meantime. She is waiting to be called, she's gathering all the Minks and training all the Minks for the final battle, most likely, okay? And what we want to see is a combination of powers where, being Luffy, in danger at the end of the story, in need of an army, in need of a fleet, he's gonna be able to call, or Usopp, because we need to fulfill Usopp's lie of having an army of 1,000 men, of calling all of these guys to fight alongside the Straw Hats. That is what I would like to see, all of them fighting in their individual type of styles, okay, not all of them together. I absolutely love this drawing. I'm just gonna add a tiny bit of shading here, like we done a couple of layers here. This is just a image reference taken from color spread from when she transforms but to fight the Big Mom pirates on sea, okay? So this is the famous pose and the famous image and everything that we have of her. I just want to add some details, okay? The sweet form of Carrot, I like it as well, when she's just normal Carrot and she's fighting as well. At that point as well, she's super strong, as I said before. She's able to, you know, defeat Luffy, Zoro and Sanji at the same time. She has this kind of gauntlet with the claws as well, like a aggressive animal, like a carnivore. That is something that is given to her by Pedro. She's trained a lot by Pedro, and she's very afflicted when Pedro dies and everything, and kind of carries his will and everything. But the thing is, I don't think she needs that at all. I don't think she needs that at all. It's just a weapon that is given to her because the bunnies are, let's say, sweet animals, and most of the warriors that we see in the Soul group are, let's say, carnivores or strong animals or big animals that are like, you know, the lion, the tiger, the cat, the dog, all of these animals, the gorilla, all of these animals are very, very dangerous animals, and the bunny is more, you know, sweet, and that's why we have the concept of the gloves, giving her the blocks to have this extra punch to the character. It works very nice. I don't think Oda had prepared all the things that Carrot was gonna be doing, like the fight with Randolph, the fight as well with Peros at the end, all of these things. I don't think Oda had this in mind when he created Carrot. It panned like that. I think Oda expanded a lot and played a lot to see what he can do and who can fight who when we were in Big Mom. In the Big Mom saga, and that's okay. You don't need to prepare everything so much. Even, you know, if the main story is clear, everything is clear. But Because all those ups and downs and staying with the Straw Hats and becoming a stowaway in the ship and then being in the lookout and everything on the top and then transforming as well specifically in her spot on the top of the sun and everything, I think all of these kind of tiny details makes her a Straw Hat. She is very connected to all of them with calling, you know, Choniki like Chobro, and a very good connection with Chopper, very good connection with Nami as well, with all of them. I think in my heart, she is a Straw Hat. Like, we have Momo for some time traveling with us. We have, you know, as well Kinemon traveling with us. Those guys as well, like Nekomamushi, Andy Noarashi, for Gold Roger and for Whitebeard, they are as well part of the crew. Okay, I don't think we have drawn Kinemon, so maybe we should draw Kinemon, maybe in pieces. It would be really nice if we cut him in pieces when low. I think that's my favorite Kinemon design. Law is another character that, together with Carrot and all this mess with Big Momo, with Doflamingo, with the Jonkos, with the Shichibu guys, he stays with us for a period of time, for a couple of sagas. But I don't say that Law is our Straw Hat. It's not a Nakama as a Straw Hat. Okay, why? Because since day one is stated, you and me, we are doing an alliance. Okay, this is not me joining you or you joining me. Okay, this is just two pirates doing an alliance. Okay, I have a very, very interesting theory about Law. I say since day one he is being a sword member, and I'm gonna put it here so you can click and watch it if you want. And why will you say that? You will say that because this character, and this is just to finish when I do a little bit of shadowing, this character, his mentor, that is Corazon was a double agent. All characters in One Piece, Luffy, Sabo, Ace, they take upon the master. So Luffy wants to be a pirate because Shanks is a pirate. Sabo ends up being a revolutionary because Dragon is a revolutionary. Ace wanted to make Whitebeard the Pirate King, and he trains as a pirate, and you have that figure father on him. Law, that figure for Law, is Corazon. So we should see a revival of Law. Law has always went very up in the polls in One Piece. You know that in One Piece, I think it's every month or every trimester, Oda does character polls when everyone is voting, oh, my favorite character is Zoro, my favorite character is Ace. Law has been always very, very high, and when a character is that high in that podium, let's say, Oda... This is a clue for Oda to start making more material about this character. I think Law is sword since day one. He's double agent since day one. He's working together with Drake, and I think he currently is with Drake. Drake is the one who, when they were escaping, you know, Beppo took Law and they were escaping from Blackbeard in these recent fights after Wano. I think Drake, while he was escaping as well from Wano, found them, took them into the I think it's G8 or G5, I don't remember what was the base, where Tashigi is as well, and all of them are there healing. Okay, this is a lot of... it has a lot of mystery around, but my opinion is that those guys are connected. That is why we always saw this playfulness with both of them. The introduction of Law is the same page of the introduction of Drake, and you know, there's making fun of him, there's joking with him and everything. Oh, how many pirates have you killed? Like, Law was playing with him knowing that Drake was playing at Rookie. He wasn't a pirate and he was someone undercover. Just this kind of connection, this brotherhood connection, rivalry that you will see with Sanji and Zorro, something like that, but with Law and Drake. That is my opinion. Every single time when they were kids as well, when they get news of, oh, like a kid escaped here, the island, blah, 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 and went into a ship, they think it's Law the one who escaped, but it's actually Drake, young Drake, that is the one who escaped. The father of Drake is the one who had the OP. So Law, that's why I would say that Law, for his own reasons, it's, you know, his own pirate, his own crew, his own captain and everything is just an ally for us, but we need to have this face-to-face when Luffy is like, oh, actually you were a marine all the time, it's okay, I like you anyway, but we will see that as well. Very nice and enjoyable for me, this video today, talking about Carrot. I love Carrot as a character, is very playful, is super strong, and obviously we always need a physically strong character in the crew, specifically if it is a girl. That's why, in my opinion, Yamato, that is super strong, and Carrot, that is super strong, they are as well Nakamas. They are people that as soon as Luffy calls or Nami calls, they are gonna come 100%. I think we finished for today with this analysis of Carrot, let's say. Let's sign, okay? Let's sign maybe here. This is DavidViadel23, DavidViadel23. You can say that you want, and this is the Mandragonscape. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the drawing as well, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much. Bye.